All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to tackle a huge story: how biblical religion, the Roman Empire, and the Protestant Reformation are all connected. It sounds like a lot, I know, but trust me, we're going to make it all make sense. So, here's the plan. We're going to take these three massive, world-changing ideas and weave them together into one single story, showing you exactly how one thing led to the next, and to make it easy, we're going to frame this whole thing like a binge-worthy TV series. With different seasons, a bunch of drama, and some seriously major plot twists. So, get ready. Okay, Season 1. Our story kicks off way back in the ancient Near East. Here, a small group of tribes comes up with an idea that is going to completely change the world. At the heart of it all is this concept of a covenant. Now, this wasn't some dry legal contract. It was a deep, sacred promise, and it was built on three revolutionary pillars. First, the wild idea that there's only one God. Second, that this God gave them a moral law, the Torah. And third, a powerful focus on justice for everyone. That's the core of biblical religion. And this wasn't just about ticking boxes or going through the motions. You had prophets constantly reminding people that what really mattered was your character, how you actually treated other people. It was all about ethics, not just empty ritual. All right, let's switch channels for Season 2. We're going to zoom in on the other superpower on our stage, the Roman Empire. And their whole take on religion, it could not have been more different. You see, for the Romans, religion was basically public business. It was political. They had a whole lineup of gods: Jupiter, Mars, Venus. And the main goal was to keep them all happy with big public ceremonies. This was supposed to maintain what they called the Pax Deorum, or the peace with the gods, which they believed was the key to a stable and prosperous empire. So here it is, the central conflict for our series. On one side, you have a personal, moral promise to one single god. And on the other, you've got these public, political rituals for a whole host of gods. These two worlds were absolutely on a collision course. And right at the messy intersection of these two clashing cultures, a totally new movement pops up. And this, my friends, is where our story takes a massive, dramatic turn. So, from inside this world of biblical faith, a Jewish teacher named Jesus of Nazareth appears. His followers believed he was the promised Messiah. And this new Christian movement, it was rooted in that covenant tradition, but it had a message for everyone. But here's the crucial part. They refused to worship the Roman gods or the emperor. And to Rome, that wasn't just disrespectful, it was political treason. And here comes the most unbelievable plot twist. I mean, for centuries, Christians were this small, persecuted group. And then, in a wild reversal, the Emperor Constantine makes it legal in 313 CE. And get this, less than 70 years later, it becomes the official state religion of the very empire that once tried to destroy it. Just stunning. This radical shift sets the stage perfectly for our next season. As the old Roman Empire begins to fade out in the West, a totally different kind of power rises up to become the new unifying force across Europe. And this was the era of the great medieval church. For 1,000 years, it was the undisputed guardian of faith in Western Europe. I mean, it shaped everything from art and science to the daily lives of kings and peasants. It took the biblical scriptures and blended them with new traditions, honoring saints and the absolute authority of the Pope. It basically built a new kind of spiritual empire where Rome's political one used to be. But you know how it goes in any long-running series. After a millennium of unity, some people started to feel that the church had drifted way too far from its original script. And this sets the stage for our final, explosive season, a rebellion from the inside. So what was this protest, the one we now call the Protestant Reformation, really about? It's important to know it wasn't about creating a brand new religion. It was about trying to reform the one they already had. The reformers, people like Martin Luther, wanted to get back to what they saw as the basics. Their big rallying cry was sola scriptura, which just means scripture alone. The Bible, they said, should be the only source of authority, not church traditions. The other big one was sola fide, faith alone is what saves you. This was a radical move to strip away all the historical layers and connect a person directly with the Bible again, shifting authority from a big institution back to the text itself. Okay, we've binged all 5 seasons. Now it's time to zoom out for the finale and look at the big takeaway from each major part of our story. So when you put it all together, you can really see how each movement left behind its own unique legacy. Biblical religion? It gave us monotheism and this idea of ethical law. The Roman world? It provided the stage, right, where Christianity first had to fight to survive and then incredibly thrived. And Protestantism? Well, that was the Great Protest, the movement that challenged all that institutional authority by demanding a return to the biblical core. It's really an incredible story. From one covenant to a global faith, this whole saga of belief, empire, and protest has profoundly shaped the world we all live in today. Our laws, our ethics, our politics, our art. So the final question is really for you. Where do you see the echoes of this story in the world around you?